I never imagined that an ordinary Saturday evening could change the way I looked at myself, at love, and at life. My name is Emily, I'm 36 years old, and if someone had told me a few months ago that I would be sitting here writing this with trembling hands, I would have laughed. But then Adam happened. It was supposed to be a quiet night. My friend Lauren had invited a few of us over to her place, just a small get-together with some pizza, a few drinks, and a movie. I almost didn't go, because I'd had a long week at work. I teach at a local high school, and sometimes, by Friday evening, all I want to do is wrap myself up in a blanket and disappear into my own little world. But Lauren was persuasive. "Come on, Emily," she said over the phone earlier that day. "You've been working yourself to death. You need this. We'll just hang out, no pressure. You'll laugh, I promise." So I agreed. When I arrived, the living room was softly lit, and the smell of fresh pizza filled the air. There were about 8 of us in total, people I knew well enough from previous get-togethers. And then there was Adam. I had met him briefly before, at a barbecue Lauren hosted last summer, but that day we had only exchanged polite hellos. This time, I noticed him. Really noticed him. He was sitting casually on the couch, long legs stretched out, wearing a simple gray sweater and jeans, talking to Lauren's brother about something. The moment I stepped into the room, his eyes met mine. It wasn't just a glance, it was a moment, one of those silent pauses that feels like an eternity. Something about his calm, steady gaze made me instantly self-conscious. I quickly brushed a strand of hair behind my ear and tried to focus on saying hi to everyone else, but I felt that look burn softly at the back of my mind all evening. We started off with pizza, casual chatter, and background music. Then someone put on a movie. The couch was big but not big enough for everyone. People sat on the floor with pillows or leaned against the wall, but somehow, Adam made sure there was space for me next to him. I sat down, telling myself it was just a coincidence, but I could feel the heat of his arms so close to mine. As the movie played, I became acutely aware of every little thing: the rhythm of his breathing, the faint scent of his cologne, and the warmth radiating from his side. At one point during the film, a funny scene made everyone laugh, and as I laughed too, my elbow lightly brushed against his. It was nothing, just an innocent accident, but I swear I felt an electric jolt run up my arm. My heart started pounding harder than the scene on screen justified. After the movie ended, some people started to leave. Others gathered in the kitchen to grab more snacks. Lauren was busy clearing things up. I got up to help her, but she waved me off. "Go sit, Em. You work enough all week. Relax for once," she insisted. When I went back to the living room, the space had shifted. Fewer people were around, and the couch was almost empty. Adam was still there, leaning back, scrolling through his phone. He looked up when he saw me return, a faint smile tugging at his lips. "Movie wasn't that great, was it?" he said, his voice low and smooth. "It had its moments," I replied, sitting down again, this time a little closer than before. That opened the door to conversation. And oh, what a conversation it was. We talked about everything and nothing, the music we liked, the things we missed about being kids, the jobs that tired us but also gave us purpose. His voice was like a bomb, and I found myself opening up in ways I hadn't planned. At one point, I told him, "I don't know why I'm saying all this. I never really talk about these things." He looked at me intently and said, "Maybe you just needed someone to listen." The simplicity of that statement almost undid me. It was getting late. The others had drifted into the kitchen or gone home, and the house had grown quieter. Lauren poked her head into the living room and said she was heading upstairs, leaving us there, almost as if she knew something was brewing. Silence settled in the room, but it wasn't awkward. It was charged, like the calm before a summer storm. Then it happened. A sudden wave of dizziness washed over me. It wasn't the kind of dizziness that comes from standing up too fast. It was from the intensity of everything I was feeling at that moment, the awareness of him next to me, the raw honesty of our conversation, and the way his eyes seemed to see right through the walls I had built over the years. I don't know what came over me, but I whispered, "Adam, I don't feel steady right now." His brows knitted together, and he leaned slightly closer. What do you mean? Are you okay? My hands are trembling, I admitted, holding them out just enough for him to see. Without thinking, he reached out and gently took my hands in his. His touch was warm and grounding, but it only intensified the tremors. It's okay, he said softly. Just breathe. I closed my eyes, trying to do as he said, but every inhale and exhale felt like I was falling deeper into something I couldn't name. And then he did something that I'll never forget. He didn't move closer suddenly or try to make a grand gesture. Instead, he simply pressed his hand against mine, firmer, anchoring me in the present. It was such a simple act, but to me, it felt like he was pressing deeper into the walls of my soul, breaking through years of loneliness I had pretended didn't exist. I opened my eyes and found him looking at me with an intensity one couldn't handle. I tried to look away, but he gently tilted his head, forcing my eyes back to his. You don't have to be strong all the time, he said. Those words shattered something in me. Tears blurred my vision as a sob escaped my lips before I could stop it. The next thing I knew, he moved slightly closer and wrapped an arm around me. It wasn't forceful. It was an embrace that asked for nothing but gave everything. I buried my face in his shoulder, shaking. The tremors I had spoken of moments earlier seemed to take over my whole body. Years of holding things in, of smiling when I was breaking, of pretending everything was fine, came crashing down on that couch in Lauren's living room. Adam didn't say anything else. He just held me, his steady presence telling me it was safe to let go. As the minutes passed, my breathing slowly evened out. I felt him press his palm gently against my back, not pushing, not pulling, just being there. That simple pressure, that grounded closeness, felt like the world had finally stopped spinning. When I finally pulled back, my cheeks wet with tears, I felt exposed, but not in a bad way. Sorry, I whispered. Don't apologize, he said softly. I meant what I said. You don't have to carry everything alone. I stared at him, really stared at him, and realized how rare it was to meet someone who could see without judgment. That night changed something in me. It wasn't a fairy tale romance or some dramatic confession. It was real, raw connection, the kind you don't plan for, the kind that presses deeper than anything else ever has. We stayed there, talking in whispers until the early hours of the morning, not wanting to break the spell of that moment. Eventually, I had to go home, but as I stood up, he said, Emily, I hope tonight wasn't the last time we talk like this. It won't be, I said, my voice steadier than I felt. Walking out into the cool night air, I realized my hands had finally stopped.